but I'm also excited for this live because of the topic. I feel like this is long overdue, and I've definitely talked about it in the past. I talk about it on my website with my blog articles. I've talked about it on my Instagram. And I talk about it with literally all of my one-on-one clients because most women are struggling with this. And sometimes it's intentional, but oftentimes I would say 7 out of 10 times it's not intentional. So we're going to talk about how to know if you're actually eating enough calories and why you probably actually need to eat more calories consistently in order to reach your goals. And I know goals sound very broad, but we're talking about goals related to improving your digestion, improving your hormones, improving your skin, improving your energy, improving your sleep. And if you have fat loss or weight loss goals, you need to make sure that you're eating enough consistently because of the impact that undereating has on your metabolism. So I'm going to talk about all of that. And if you're watching this replay, just do a hashtag replay in the comments so I know that you're watching it, you're rewatching it. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments and also tag other people who you think need to hear this information. If you feel like it's super valuable, even if you didn't get through the whole thing, but you know somebody who probably needs to be eating more and they're dealing with a lot of these symptoms that I'll talk about in a minute and they're likely related to not eating enough, then make sure that they know that this video exists inside this group. So, quick overview, what we're going to chat about. First, we're going to touch on why eating enough and understanding what eating enough actually looks like, why this is foundational. I'm going to talk about how it's connected to everything, especially a lot of the symptoms that most women are dealing with today that are common, but they're not normal. They're things you go to your doctor for and they say, everybody's dealing with this, just have this pill or, deal with these symptoms and you're fine, right? But we know that you don't feel fine, and we can connect a lot of this back to lack of nutrient-dense calories. So that's the first thing. We're going to talk about why it's foundational, and then we're going to go over some signs that you're not eating enough. So this will help you to know if this is applying to you. There's a few women who are not going to benefit from this Facebook Live, I will say that. So for the women, they're probably not in this group, but the ones who are just overeating and they're very sedentary. So they're living in this overfed state, excess amount of calories, and they're just not moving their body consistently. So this is kind of what we think of as like the standard American diet. And a lot of the advice we get is actually for that standard American diet who is underactive and actually overeating and eating a ton of really, really processed foods. This is not for them. We're talking about the women who have been following diet advice or never really learned what eating enough calories looks like. And then lastly, we're going to get into actually how to make sure you're eating enough. So you'll walk away feeling like you have a good handle on where to start with making sure you're getting that, what I call calorie sweet spot. So like I said, a lot of the symptoms that I see in women are a result of not eating enough consistently. So we always start there. And even if they've done all of the testing, they've taken a bunch of supplements, they have seen a lot of different doctors and things like that, we have to go back to this foundational piece of getting adequate calories consistently. And the reason that this happens, I was thinking about this more earlier today actually, but a lot of women never actually learn how much food that they need to eat to sustain themselves and how much food they need for actual health. So to build healthy hormones, to support a healthy metabolism, for cell regeneration, for energy, recovery, sleep, all these things that I'm going to talk about. We never learn this stuff because even from a young age, we're just not taught this, just like we're not taught a lot about our menstrual cycle. So we're either, put on birth control or we're told that we can get pregnant no matter what day of the month it is, which is not true. And so from a young age, there's a lot of things we don't learn as females, but one of these things is what eating more looks like. we're usually only exposed, and what we learn about from food is from magazines, from different diet trends. So maybe you saw your mom do Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers, or maybe you did some of those things. Or today it's like doing keto or plant-based, intermittent fasting. A lot of the nutrition advice out there is around just calories and nothing beyond that. If it is, it's like kind of more advanced, but it's just calories in, calories out, everything in moderation. And there's always a huge emphasis on food as it relates to your weight, your body size, and external factors like body fat, and nothing else. So we're never taught you should be eating more, you should be getting all of these nutrients and calories from food, and that will help you to sustain your health and reach your goals. So all that to say, just like giving you some insight into why we're here in the first place, and it's not your fault that you don't know how much you should be eating. We're not taught this, and we literally, if we try to learn it from somewhere, there's only like diet books and things out there. So it's difficult. And whenever we look at what we teach as the Nourishing Nutrition Foundations, so you can kind of think of it as a pyramid. There's a post on this on my Instagram as well. So at the very bottom is quality food. So nutrient dense, quality food, getting really clear on what that looks like. Second to that, so the next layer is quantity. So this is where we look at calories. So quality and quantity, those are the foundations. Those come before supplements or specific superfoods or intermittent fasting or manipulating your macronutrients so it's lower fat or lower carbs. You have to eat enough, and you have to be getting nutrient dense foods. So that's why this is that second layer, and it's so important. You can do all these other things up here up top, but if you're not eating enough, you're still going to struggle with hormone imbalances, metabolism issues, thyroid issues, hormone issues, and you're not going to be able to lose weight. It's going to feel like a struggle and an uphill battle. And the reason for that also, and this isn't entirely about weight loss, but I do tie this into weight loss because for the women who've been restricting intentionally, it's usually because they want to lose weight. So what happens when we're chronically under-eating or we're yo-yo dieting, so we're under-eating and then we're overeating, under-eating, overeating, this is perceived by the body as a stressor. You're not getting that energy input consistently. And so it's essentially a threat to your survival. Your body is smart, and its goal is not to lose fat. Like, that's not its main priority. It's to survive, and it's to reproduce. So if it's not getting the calories that it needs, it's going to adapt. And one way it does this is by shifting to slow anything that requires energy down. So it slows down these functions that aren't a priority, and it conserves whatever energy wherever possible. This means that your digestion will slow down, your metabolic rate will slow down, you'll have more thyroid issues, you'll have more adrenal issues. So a lot of the signs and symptoms are connected to metabolism, hormones, and digestion. And I'll go over that list in just a second. If you have any questions so far on anything that I've touched on, let me know in the comments, or anything else that you want to share on this. If you're having any like aha moments, then just let me know in the comments. Okay, so the second thing that I hear a lot from women is that they don't feel like they're under eating, but 9 times out of 10, when we look at a food journal, we can see very, very clearly that they're just not eating enough. And again, it's because we're never taught this. We have lived our adult lives skipping meals, using food kind of as like an afterthought almost, like you can skip lunch or you forget to eat or you go through your day without prioritizing mealtime, or it's just lacking in actual nutrients. So it's like a salad with chicken breast and low-fat dressing, or hummus and carrots, or maybe one piece of toast with one egg on it and some avocado. It's not enough. It's things that we see other people doing, but it's still not enough. So under eating can come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. So I just want to touch on what it actually looks like, and then you'll be able to say like, oh, okay, actually might be under eating. I remember I had a client, we worked together a couple months ago, and she realized after we did a little bit of tracking and kind of paid attention more to her energy needs, she's like, she was 35. She was like, I've been under eating my entire life, and I'm just now realizing that. And so that's why we have all of these other issues show up as we get older, and your body gets less and less resilient to that stress. But it's not too late. You can start eating enough now and support your body. So under eating can look like, first I'll just put this out there. Anything under 1,800 calories, especially for a menstruating female, is not enough. If you've seen 1,500, 1,600, 1,700 calorie diets, it's not enough to sustain healthy hormonal function, healthy metabolism, healthy periods, reproduction, libido, all these things that I'm going to talk about in a minute. And it's usually that advice is surrounded by like a diet narrative, right? So you can still lose weight by eating more. And you don't have to be eating 1,600 calories to lose weight. And if you are and you're not losing weight, the proof is in the pudding right there. So 1,800 calories, baseline recommendation. And if you're not there right now and you realize like, I've been eating 1,300 calories because I thought that's what I should be doing, you can still reverse that. You can still slowly increase to 1,800 calories and get up to that goal without gaining weight. The second kind of picture of under eating looks like lacking a specific macronutrient. So maybe you are getting 1,800 calories, but you're really low in protein. So you're only getting like 50 grams of protein a day. Or you're really low carb. You're only getting 30 grams of carbs a day. Or you're low fat and like you're sticking to 50 to 60 grams of fat a day. All of those are on the lower end. And so you can be eating right amount of calories, but still lacking in those macronutrients, which is going to impact your blood sugar and your sources of energy that your thyroid hormones need and your stress hormones need. So, and your gut bacteria. So all of those things can impact your hormones and your digestion. And then we have lack of micronutrients. So fun fact, macronutrients and micronutrients are actually that third layer on the Nourishing Foundations pyramid, and they tie into blood sugar balance as well. But lack of micronutrients, so that's going to be vitamins and minerals. If you're sticking to like a clean diet of, again, chicken breast, low fat, yogurt, maybe you're doing granola bars, coffee in the morning, oatmeal, those things are lacking in minerals and vitamins and nutrient density. Or if you're vegetarian or vegan and you've been eating that way for an extended period of time, then you're likely deficient and lacking in these micronutrients. So that's why we teach nutrient density also as a foundation. Another kind of like picture of under eating is just skipping meals. So if you're fasting until 11 a.m. or you're just going through your afternoon with meetings and you're not stopping to eat lunch, or you're skipping dinner, those are all pictures of under eating, and you're likely not getting to your calorie amount with those, 2 meals you might be doing. And then another picture is under eating and then overeating. So I have a lot of women say like, I'm definitely not overeating because I eat from 4 p.m. until bedtime. And that's usually after a period of restriction or under eating. And so it can look like low calorie during the day. So again, maybe it's like avocado toast or oatmeal for breakfast, and then like a salad for lunch, like you get some sweet green or a smoothie bowl or whatever, and then you're overeating at night. Or you're kind of dieting during the week and you feel like you need a cheat meal on the weekend. If you ever feel like you need a cheat meal, if what you're doing on a day-to-day basis is so unenjoyable and unsustainable that you feel like you're missing out on certain foods, then that's a huge red flag and conversation for another time. But if you're oscillating between under eating and overeating, then it's going to be stressful for the body. So those are the pictures of under eating, what it actually looks like. And you also, I should say this, it's regardless of your weight, you can be under eating and have more body fat or be overweight. And usually that comes along with feeling more bloated, having period irregularities, hormone issues, fatigue, sleep issues, things like that. So I see a lot of women under eating and they store fat, especially around their midsection, because it's a stress on the body. And that's a huge sign that cortisol is out of balance. So again, you can be under eating and not be able to lose weight. So I just want to put that out there as well. All right, so let's get into the list. the signs and symptoms that you're overeating, and again, it connects to so many things. So if you're dealing with any of these, and again, I think that like most of the clients, even the ones I just talked to on, free consult calls, they'll tell me all the issues that they're dealing with. And right away, I'm like questioning, are they eating enough consistently? And then we check in with that once they onboard and do their intake and complete the 3-day food journal. And then from there we do, pictures with a food mood journal and we can see more accurately. But these are some of the signs that you're under eating. So if any of these sounds like you can let me know in the comments, just whichever one it is, be like, that's me, or just kind of mention which one you might be struggling with specifically. And you'll probably find that it's a combo if under eating is one of the reasons that things are out of balance in your body. So the first one is cold hands and feet. So you're always feeling cold, even if it's kind of warm outside. Your body temperature is lower. You can also take your body temperature. This is a great way to measure your thyroid health and your metabolism, but take your body temperature first thing in the morning, and it should be above 97.0. So cold hands and feet, always need a sweater. Crashing in the afternoon, especially like 2-3 p.m. And usually that crash comes along with cravings. So either you crave sugar and sweets and carbs in the afternoon, or you're just kind of craving them all the time, or during certain periods you feel like you're out of control around certain foods. You can't have sweets in the house because you're afraid you'll overeat them, or if you go to a party and there's sweets around, you end up eating more than you would like. That's also a sign. Irregular menstrual cycles or loss of periods. So if you're not getting a regular period, birth control will not give you your period back. That is a synthetic period. It's not actually balancing your hormones. And if you have irregular cycles, maybe they're really heavy or kind of unpredictable with the length, maybe they're like 40 days or something like that, then that's a red flag. If you have a hard time putting on muscle or recovering from your workouts, so you're sore all the time, you have a workout, and then you feel like inflamed and really sluggish and slow to recover in the following days. If you're always thinking about food, you're like, when's my next meal? Kind of obsessing over thoughts of food. That's definitely a red flag. Anxiety and moodiness. So many women are anxious today, and a lot of it ties back to lack of calories and lack of nutrient density. When you're eating enough consistently, you'll find that your mood improves significantly. You feel more calm, more steady, and you have less anxiety, and you're more resilient to stressors that come your way. Dry skin, brittle nails, and hair, like thinning hair or hair that's falling out, especially in the shower. Hair, skin, nails, that all relates to your thyroid hormones and also just not eating enough. You're not getting the nutrients, you're not getting calories, the energy that your body needs to grow those things. Constipation and just slower digestion. So constipation, bloating, and reflux, like upper GI sort of issues, that's all a sign that you're not eating enough. A lot of women who are constipated too, who have tried everything, they haven't tried making sure they're eating enough. So we go back to that, like all the supplements, whether it's magnesium or, maybe it's over the counter like Miralax or something like that, their body is so stressed, it's holding on and it's slowing everything down that they're not having regular daily bowel movements. And then that can lead to dysbiosis and overgrowth of bacteria and SIBO and things like that. Not being able to stay asleep. So you can't fall asleep and you can't stay asleep. Huge red flag. Getting sick frequently. So maybe you have a lot of sinus infections, or you get sick and then it lingers for a really long time. It takes you a while to recover. If you don't feel hungry first thing in the morning, or you don't feel hungry in the morning, or maybe on the other end, you're always hungry. So if you're always hungry or you're never hungry, either way, those hunger signals are out of balance. And that can come from chronically under eating. Low libido or low sex drive, and then also just low hormones in general. So we can put a couple things under this category. So one, sluggish thyroid, whether you've been diagnosed or not, maybe it's just hypothyroidism or autoimmune hypothyroidism, which is Hashimoto's. Low progesterone, which low progesterone can show up as PMS and heavy periods and things like that, but also as difficulty getting pregnant or having miscarriages. So low hormones, again, in order to improve those hormones, we need to make sure we're eating adequate calories. So those are all the signs and symptoms. I'll probably post the list in this group too, so you can kind of have like a checklist to refer to, since that was all just verbal. But If any of those sound like you, I'm curious. Just let me know in the comments which ones, whether it's not being able to fall asleep or stay asleep, thinking about food all the time, constipated, slow digestion, cold all the time, hair falling out, dry skin, brittle nails, things like that. Those are some of the really common ones that I see. All right, so now let's talk about how to know if you're getting enough calories. Like, where can you actually start? Because it sounds very arbitrary and you don't want to just eat a bunch of food and then feel worse. And so there are a lot of factors that influence how much you should be eating. And it can vary on a day-to-day basis. This is why we're such a huge advocate of listening to your body, listening to your biofeedback markers. So your hunger, your sleep, your energy, your cravings, your mood, your digestion, all of those things. It's really important to be in tune with those. Like, how long do you stay full after a meal? Are you hungry 2 hours later, or can you go 3 to 4 hours without a snack? So multitude of factors with how much you should be eating. So the amount that you need to be eating is different than what your friend is eating, or an influencer, or author of a book, or whoever it is that you're following that like just makes this blanket recommendation for you. And also understanding that it can vary day to day based on your stress levels. When your body's under more stress, you need more calories, your activity levels, where you're at in your menstrual cycle, whether you're in your luteal phase, your ovulatory phase, your menstrual phase, your follicular phase. Also, obviously, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, you actually need more calories when you're breastfeeding than any other time in your life, even when you're pregnant. And also how much sleep you got the night before. So that's going to impact your body's need for calories the following day. So, and then of course, there's your age, your weight, your height, those things to consider as well. So lots of factors, which is why we help you to customize that and figure it out and teach you how to listen to your body and what actually is working and not working. But I'm going to give you some steps that you can start with. So the first thing is just gathering some data, figuring out where you're at right now that you know eating enough calories is important and it will support your goals with your hormones, your digestion, your metabolism, your weight loss, all of those things. Evaluate where you are now. And there are a couple ways to do this. One is just by journaling, having more awareness, like, am I just eating 3 solid meals a day? Or what we do with clients is a food mood journal. So you take pictures of your meal, ideally balancing blood sugar meals, so protein, carbs, fats. But you can take pictures of that to kind of gauge where you're at portion-wise. Or you can use something like Chronometer or MyFitnessPal. And I hate MyFitnessPal for a lot of reasons, because if you put your goals in there, it'll say to eat like 40 grams of fat and you can lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks and things like that. So you can ignore any suggestions that it makes, but if you want to use it to actually look to see like how many calories is in this avocado toast, is it 150, which is like enough for a snack, or is it actually getting me to like that 500 calorie range that I should be hitting with my meals? So you can plug that in and you can get a good idea. If you have no awareness of that, now you can have awareness. For some women who have tracked calories or macros, especially, I feel like this is more common in like kind of the fitness world or CrossFitters, bodybuilders, things like that. They know how to track and they know if they're eating 15 or 1600 calories. Then this, you can bypass a step and you can start slowly increasing your calories. But if you need to increase that awareness, then I recommend using something like that. And really just for 3 to 5 days. So just do it for a few days, get an average, figure out where you fall with that total calorie intake. If at the end of the day you're only at 1500 calories, then you're like, okay, confirmed, not eating enough consistently. So, and again, the minimum, like the baseline that I like to recommend is 1800, probably 1900, but I say 1800 because 1900 freaks a lot of people out. So track for 3 to 5 days, get kind of an accurate idea of where you're at on average. And then from there, you need to determine your unique calorie needs. And this is something that you have to customize. And I recommend getting guidance and customizing this, not just following like a cookie cutter calculator recommendation, but a calculator can help you to start. So in my metabolism renewal course, I walk you through this step by step. I give you the link to the calculator and you plug that in, you find, and we do this with one-on-one clients as well, but you find your basal metabolic rate, your suggested basal metabolic rate. We don't know that that's like 100% accurate because it doesn't know your dieting history or your thyroid health or anything like that. But you look at your BMR, and then you look at your TDEE, which is your total daily energy expenditure. And this is basically how many calories you should be getting given the amount of activity that you're doing. So, for me, that's probably around like 2,500 calories a day. And that's the average. That's give or take based on all those other factors that I mentioned. So you figure out your TDEE, and then that's your goal. That's what you want to start increasing to. So if you're at 1,500 and you need to be at 1,900, you're going to just start to slowly increase. And you're doing this with nutrient-dense food. So you're not going to go eat like, pizza and ice cream. You're just building up your meals a little bit more so that you're getting closer to that goal. And really even just not skipping meals can help you kind of move in the right direction. So if you're scheduling time for 3 solid meals, a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner, you're intentional with those meals. You sit down, you enjoy it. It can be like the best part of your day, just 15 minutes, sitting down, eating your food, chewing it, enjoying it. And then you should stay full for the next 3 to 4 hours. If you want to throw a snack in there too, like you want to do some cottage cheese with fruit or a little prosciutto with some Simple Mills crackers, then you carve in that snack as well and you're intentional with that. So just not skipping meals is going to help you to move in the right direction. 3 solid meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then a snack in between. But either way, you should be feeling full for the next 3 to 4 hours. If you eat something, you have a smoothie, and then you feel hungry an hour later, that's a sign you're not eating enough. Or if you're always hungry, it's a sign you're not eating enough with your meals. So when you eat your meals, it also should feel satisfying. It shouldn't feel restrictive. You shouldn't feel like you have cravings right after your meal, or you want something else, or you want something sweet. You should feel complete and satisfied. And you should be sleeping well. You should feel energized throughout the afternoon. And of course, have regular bowel movements, good digestion, normal healthy periods, all of those things that are going to tie into your hormones and your metabolism. So hopefully that gives you some good ideas of where to start with eating enough. I have a blog post that I'll put the link for below as well. It is a little bit older. I think it's from like 2020, but it's still relevant. So I go over the steps there, so it's written out for you as well. And some other things I hear too, which we can definitely chat more about. And if you have questions on it, I'm happy to elaborate. But a lot of women are afraid to eat more food because they don't want to gain weight, or they think that it's bad to eat more food. Like we've been conditioned to think that we shouldn't be eating more than our husbands or our partner. And so if you're afraid to eat more food first, I would just connect it back to like your physiology and the fact that your body needs nutrients and calories to perform and to recover and to have a healthy metabolism as you get older and you age. Like all those things are so important. And so really what you can do is just start slow. You don't have to go from 1,500 to 1,900 in a week. It can just be like an extra 50 calories a day, an extra snack a day, or adding in a breakfast. That can make a huge difference. And second to that, I always recommend focusing on protein sources from animals. So if you have to pick one thing to start increasing, I would make it protein sources from animals. So complete, bioavailable, easy to digest, easy to use for energy animal sources. It's going to balance blood sugar, it's going to improve your mood, and it's going to give you a lot of the micronutrients and the minerals that your body has probably been missing out on in a small amount of food. That's why it's great. Versus, I don't know, kale. You're going to have to eat like 7 cups of that to get the amount of nutrients you would need. And also, it's really difficult to digest. So it's just going to wreak havoc on your digestion. So I don't recommend doing that. But 4 to 6 ounces of grass-fed beef or bison or lamb, some eggs, that's going to be a really great way to increase nutrient density and calories at the same time. Another thing that I hear is, especially for my clients who are struggling with digestive issues, they're afraid to increase certain foods because it's going to make them feel bloated. And again, I would go back to the first recommendation to start slowly increase. And second, this is where working with us to help support your digestive function is going to be imperative. So you need to support your digestive function if you're introducing more foods. And this is kind of like the chicken and the egg, because not eating enough is causing your constipation. But when you eat more, you still feel bloated and constipated. So you need to increase your food while also supporting digestive function with specific supplements, and also with specific mealtime habits and good meal hygiene, and not drinking a ton of water with your meals. So that's another consideration there. And then the last kind of objection that I get for this is, well, I want to lose weight. So if I increase my calories, I'm gonna gain weight. And one way to think about this is, if you've been white knuckling your way through eating 1,500 calories day in and day out and you're still not losing weight, you only have so many more calories to decrease. So, I mean, you could go to 1,200, you might lose like 1 to 2 pounds, but because of the metabolic adaptations that have taken place, your body is not going to lose any more weight. So the only answer is to reverse diet and slowly increase those calories so that you're up to 2,000 calories a day, but you're doing what you need to support your metabolism, which you didn't do in the first place whenever you first cut calories and then plateaued. So if you're supporting your metabolism while increasing those, hormones or increasing those calories, then your hormones are not going to adapt in a way that isn't in favor of your body composition goals. So if you've been restricting calories, or you cut calories, you lost weight at first, and now you're like, oh, I should just cut more calories, what got you to the first kind of weight loss mile marker is not going to get you to the next one. So just keep that in mind. And if anything, I have clients who do try that and they continue to insist on eating, 1,500 calories, then 13, then 12, and their symptoms only get worse and worse. Their thyroid gets worse and their metabolism slows down, their digestion gets worse, they have all these food intolerances, and more health issues. And then they go to their doctor and they have high cholesterol and they have tons of inflammation. And so we just don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So we can reverse diet back up, and eating more while losing weight, it's such an easier approach and a less stressful way to go about it. So so that's all I have for you guys. Kind of wrapping things up, know that eating enough calories cannot be overlooked. It is foundational for long-term health, and also for just resolving a lot of those ongoing symptoms related to digestion and hormones and periods and things like that. So when you're eating enough, you know that you're eating enough because you'll have better moods, you'll feel less anxious, you'll be able to sleep through the night, you'll have regular, easy periods, no PMS, minimal cravings. Fat loss will feel so much easier. You'll be able to work out, recover from those workouts appropriately. The list goes on and on. So many benefits. So if you want to learn how to eat enough food, find that calorie sweet spot consistently to support your goals, and you want to figure out specifically what foods are right for your body, what the good, solid, nutrient-dense foods look like, and you want to do so consistently so it just becomes habit, becomes second nature, and it's enjoyable, then I recommend either applying to work with us one-on-one, so you can schedule free consultation with me. We'll talk more about what's going on with you and figure out what program is the best fit for you. Or if you want to get started right away and you want to kind of do things on your own, then my metabolism renewal course is designed specifically with this in mind. So it's one of the key modules on how to fuel your metabolism. You'll figure out exactly how much to be eating, and then you'll be able to track that consistently on your own, and you'll notice improvements in a lot of these areas. So all right, that is all I have. Again, if you have questions as you come back or you're watching this replay, definitely post them in the comments. And if there are any future topics as well that you want me to cover, just let me know. And I'm happy to do that next Thursday. But every Thursday, we're in here doing a live. So just let me know what you want to learn more about, and I'll be sure to cover it. All right, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll